I wanted to do an initial impressions video of the new Sig P320 X Compact. This is a new offering from Sig Sauer here in 2019. I've only had this firearm for a few days and have a little over 400 rounds through it. That's not a lot of rounds in the world of firearms, and I realize that, and I'll continue to shoot it and see what problems I may or may not have. But having said that, I've got enough time with it to have some general ideas and some things that I like and don't like. We'll go over some of the differences and some of the options of this particular firearm. Again, this grip module is new for 2019. It ships with two 15-round metal magazines. These are the standard P320 magazines. Nothing new there. I do like the fact that the magazines are metal and they do drop freely from that polymer grip. I've not had any of them hang up. That's always a plus. As far as the magazine release, it is one-sided, but it can be swapped to either side and used that way. The slide release or the slide stop is ambidextrous, and the one thing I noted is that the slide stop release does extend beyond the slide, beyond the grip module a little bit. I've not had issues with inadvertently locking that slide to the back with a high grip, but I do like the fact that it's extended a little bit. It seems to make manipulation of that fairly straightforward, fairly easy. And this firearm is clear. The trigger in it is the standard X series trigger. It's a flat trigger. It does break at 90 degrees. It has a short take up and a fairly crisp break, but no issues with the trigger. The firearm ships with the X-Ray 3 sights. Those are night sights with the green luminescent front sight. The rear sight, however, is attached to the optic plate. That is probably one downside, or for me it's a downside. If you're going to adjust your sights, you're mostly limited to drifting this front sight where this rear sight's attached to the plate. Also in that line, as far as optics go, it kind of marries you to the new Sig optic, as well as I think the loopholed Delta Point Pro, and then you lose your backup iron sight. If I was going to set this up for myself, I would personally prefer to have a iron sight backup. I had taken a previous carry or compact length slide and had it milled for an RMR. I have a dovetail rear sight, so I do have that backup sight. I like that option a little bit better, and I found these Trijicon RMR, at least the Type 2s, to be very reliable. I have a Sig Romeo 1. The battery life doesn't compare to the Trijicon optic, but I'm going off on a tangent there. But that does kind of marry it to that, but there are some options to get around that. If you wanted to mill a slide for an RMR, it's my understanding that the subcompact length slide fits perfectly here on this X Compact. I have installed the standard carry or compact slide on here. It works as well. Speaking of what's interchangeable, these magazines are interchangeable. I have a 17-round magazine here from a previous version, 320. It fits, it functions just fine, no issues. Took a 21-round magazine. I've got a dummy round in here. It fits, it functions fine. When I chamber that dummy round, one thing I do notice is it has a loaded chamber indicator. That could come in handy if you're doing any work at night and you're not able to visually inspect the chamber, you're not able to do a press check or whatever. You do have that loaded chamber indicator. That's a nice feature as well. Takedown, I won't get into that. It's been pretty straightforward. The recoil spring was slightly different, but no issues there. All in all, I've been pretty impressed. I've been pretty happy with it. As far as holsters go, I just have a standard Ragnarok from T-Rex Arms, and it fits. I didn't have any issues with that. I mean, if you have 320 holsters, I think you're probably good to go. So as far as things I like the grip module itself, and I'll give you a little bit of a comparison between this X Compact and the X Carry. There are some subtle differences. As you'll see, the X Carry has a build up here and a little bit of extra material here, where the X Compact does not have. as far as the overall circumference of the two, you'll notice that the X Carry is considerably larger in circumference than the X Compact. Having smaller hands, I do like this smaller grip module. It's more comfortable in my hand. Those of you with bigger hands, you might prefer this X Carry grip module. But you can swap that stuff out. It does ship with a size medium grip module. But it feels good in hand and it still allows you to get a full-size grip. Downsides to this, I talked about the rear sight being married to the optic plate. For me, that's a downside. Price, availability, I did purchase this firearm. They're not readily available. They're starting to get out there. Price was pretty well retail price, and that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $680. Your mileage may vary depending on your location. All in all, I've been pretty happy with this firearm. The downsides, again, price, availability, probably the magazines, but if you've got other 320 magazines, you're good to go. So that's all I have. I'll continue to shoot it. Hopefully here in the next week or so, get 1,000, 1,500 rounds through it, have a chance to have more of a take on it. But those are some initial impressions, some initial points, some things I saw. I hope it's of value to you. Thanks for watching, and keep shooting.